I was not going to even discuss this, to be honest, but there has been so much come out about this, I have to. Okay, Donnie, my husband, loves some Garth Brooks. He has sang Shameless to me for so long. When this came out right here, I couldn't say I was shocked. But when the details and the different things started coming out, then I became more and more shocked. I was like, well, hold up. This is not the Garth Brooks that I want to support or listen to. And I think a lot of you would find all of these details very interesting. So let's just get into it. Garth Brooks allegedly sent this to his and Trisha's former hairstylist and makeup artist. And I quote, "I'm so sorry that we crossed a line. I think me and you get out and run and just hope that nobody ever finds out and just love one another." Like I said, this was a message Garth Brooks allegedly sent. And like I also said, there has been so much come out in just a few weeks. Let's get into the latest. Taste of Country exclusively reported Garth Brooks is being accused of SA and battery by a woman he's known for 20 years. His story and Jane Rose's story are different in key, but not necessarily important ways. Below is a timeline of Brooks and Rose's professional relationship, as well as the accusations being brought against him. It starts in 1999, several years before Brooks married Trisha Yearwood. In fact, he was still married to ex-wife Sandy at the time, although their union was quickly deteriorating. Rose says the star began to hire her as his makeup artist more frequently upon learning of her financial struggles, while he says he'd hired her for years by that point. On September 13th, Brooks filed a preemptive lawsuit using Jane Doe and Jane Doe. He was trying to proceed, using John Doe and Jane Doe. He was trying to proceed with any subsequent lawsuits involving the two parties under, A lawsuit accusing him of SA was filed in California on October 3rd using Jane Roe as plaintiff and the star's real name, Garth Brooks, as defendant. The Mississippi claim had not been decided yet. What's the Mississippi claim? The Mississippi claim had not been decided at that time. On October 8th, Brooks filed for an amendment using his real name and hers, asking for a judge to dismiss his original filing. The last 2 weeks have been particularly fast-paced, so we've spaced out events so you can better understand things like Brooks' explanation for using his accuser's real name in a court filing. The timeline will be updated as new information becomes available or as more events take place. Brooks says the lawsuit could take 2 years, so expect many updates. Now, I am recording this video Thursday, October 17th. I will have an update next week, so be sure you subscribe for more. A woman accusing Garth Brooks of SA and battery was part of his inner circle for 20 years before she says, happened. But Brooks and Jane Rose's timelines differ in key ways. Here's a timeline of events starting with his first time she worked for Brooks' wife, Trisha Yearwood. 1999, Jane Roe begins working for Trisha. Per Jane Rose's lawsuit, she was hired to do makeup and hairstyling for Trisha Yearwood for the first time in 1999. Over the years, she continued to work for Trisha and other celebrities. October of 2000, Brooks files for divorce from Sandy. Their divorce finalized in 2001. 2005, Garth Brooks marries Trisha. The couple got married 7 months after becoming engaged. 2005, Garth Brooks says Jane Roe began working for him. This may end up being an inconsequential discrepancy, but in his September 13th filing, Garth Brooks said he first hired Jane Roe in 2005. But she says 2017 is when she first started working with Garth Brooks. Early 2019, Jane Rose says Garth Brooks essayed her for the first time. According to Jane Rose court filing, Brooks began to hire her more frequently in 2018 after learning of her financial difficulties. Her first described incident of essay came in early 2019. Rose says she was at Brooks's home when he walked out of the shower naked, grabbed her hands, and forced them onto his genitals while using graphic language. May of 2019. Jane Rowe says Garth Brooks, The photo of Brooks in Yearwood with Sam Moore is from an earlier date, but relevant because his accuser says Brooks had flown her to LA to do his makeup and hair for a Sam Moore tribute concert when he did what he did in the hotel room. Now, the reason why I have to refrain from reading the graphic words is because YouTube will demonetize my videos if I use any sort of word, or they might take down the videos, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to, gather all the facts and info and try to figure out what's going on here. Only she and Brooks were in a private plane to California, she says, and she furthers that the hotel room just had one bedroom. Her lawsuit describes a violent, in detail situation that happened and injury she sustained. 5 months later, Brooks allegedly brought Rowe to LA again. When she entered the room to do his hair and makeup, she claims he made it clear he wanted to repeat what happened in May. The filing notes that Miss Rowe managed to escape the situation because he was running late and people were waiting to pick him up. Early 2020, Jane Rowe refers to and seemingly quotes messages and conversations between her and Brooks throughout the 9,000-word lawsuit. She states that in 2020 he grabbed her phone and deleted certain messages he'd sent. She also says he emailed her using many different names and addresses. Brooks' wife and manager were said to be present for some of the more vulgar conversations and suggestions, per Rowe. There's another discrepancy in the timelines between plaintiff and defendant. She says she moved in May of 2021 and describes several conversations she had with Brooks about ending her employment. Her depiction of Brooks in these conversations is of a man who was sad she was leaving. Per Brooks' September 13th complaint, the letter alleged a litany of different misconduct by plaintiff, including grooming, unwanted touching, and SA. Defendants also alleged a belief that plaintiff planned to hire someone to unalive her. Well, that's horrible. This was the first time Brooks had learned of the charges, he said. August 23rd, 2024, a second letter offered to refrain from filing the lawsuit in exchange for a multi-million-dollar payment, Brooks says. Knowing Jane Rowe would file, Brooks filed a complaint in Mississippi under the synonyms John Doe and Jane Doe. His hope was to get a court to rule that all future proceedings would use these names and he would not be publicly identified. Why did he file in Mississippi? I'm curious, being from Mississippi myself. I'm just curious. If anybody knows, can you clarify for those of us who don't know? Jane Rowe's lawsuit in California came after Brooks filed in Mississippi, but before the court ruled in it, she named him as Garth Brooks. His attorneys would later say CNN knew about the case before it was fully filed. Brooks actually had a concert on October 3rd, the day the lawsuit became public. He referred to it in a message post-show, but fully acknowledged the lawsuit 4 days later during his weekly Inside Studio G live stream. This thing is on. It's going to happen, he said, telling fans. People are telling me it could be up to 2 years. So my suggestion is we all take a deep breath, just kind of settle in, and let's hold hands and take a trip together, because it is something that we cannot talk about. That's all we can say about it. October 8th, the next day, Brooks amended his September 13th filing, now using his full name and Jane Roe's full name. Taste of Country has chosen not to identify his accuser. In Touch exclusively reported Trisha never expected Garth Brooks' essay accusations. Heartbreaking for her. Garth Brooks and Trisha held hands as they walked through a Habitat for Humanity construction site in St. Paul, Minnesota. The country stars were lending a hand in honor of their friend Jimmy Carter, a longtime advocate for the housing charity, to mark the former president's 100th birthday. On September 30th, Garth posted a photo of the tender moment he shared with his wife on Instagram, captioning, "As they say, home is key and love never quits." Just 3 days later, their love was put to the test. In a lawsuit filed in California on October 3rd, a former makeup artist and hairstylist for Garth, who's also worked for Trisha, filed a complaint under the pseudonym, I can't even say that word, Jane Roe, accusing Garth of, I can't say that word because YouTube will not allow me to say that word, basically, on here, on their platform. In an LA hotel suite in May of 2019, during a business trip, undressing in her presence, exposing himself, groping her, sending her explicit text that he later deleted off her phone, and speaking to her about his fantasies, wanting to include her in threesomes with his wife, Trisha. The woman is seeking monetary and punitive damages. It's heartbreaking for Trisha, a source exclusively tells In Touch. She loves Garth more than anything, and she never expected this. According to sources, friends are telling the country singer turned cookbook author to stand by her man, and so far she has. On October 7th, Trisha posted a photo of herself singing with Garth in Las Vegas, captioning, "Love one another." The Friends in Low Places hitmaker has denied the claims. "For the last 2 months, I have been hassled to no end with threats, lies, and tragic tales of what my future would be if I did not write a check for multi-millions of dollars. It has been like having a loaded gun waved in my face." Garth, who has a net worth of at least $300 million, said in an October 3rd statement, insisting he's incapable of committing such ugly acts and won't pay hush money for something he didn't do. "I trust the system. I do not fear the truth, and I am not the man they have painted me to be." Garth first denied the woman's allegations anonymously in a preemptive complaint filed on September 13th. In court papers, John Doe sought to block claims of lying extortionists set on destroying his professional reputation. In new court documents obtained by In Touch, Garth amended the complaint and revealed the woman's name. In Touch has made the decision not to disclose her name. Garth Brooks just revealed his true self. The accuser's lawyers fired back. Out of spite and to punish, he publicly named a victim. With no legal justification, Brooks outed her because he thinks the laws don't apply to him. On behalf of our client, we will be moving for maximum sanctions against him immediately. Y'all, let's read more about this. Now, apparently, corporations are taking actions against Garth Brooks' music. Tennessee swaps Garth Brooks' fourth quarter song for Morgan Wallen. The University of Tennessee Volunteers got a new fourth quarter song on Saturday night, October 12th. During a home game against Florida Gators at Knoxville's Neyland Stadium, the team debuted their new pick, Morgan Wallen's early career single, "The Way I Talk," a song that celebrates Wallen's Tennessee roots and includes a line about cheering on the Volunteers. The switch-up comes after several seasons, the Volunteers using Garth Brooks' Friends in Low Places as their fourth quarter song. That song was included on Brooks' 1990 album, No Fences, and the Underdogs Sing Along has since become one of the most popular songs to arise from the country genre over the past few decades. Brooks is currently at the center of a scandal as he's being accused of SA and battery in a lawsuit that was filed early this month. What are your thoughts and opinions on all of this? I have seen and heard that this could potentially play out in the media on TV like the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. Hope not, for the sake of the victim that clearly don't want to be revealed. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is something embarrassing, okay? Clearly, to a lot of people that are victims of this. Curious to know what y'all are thinking. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe. I will have an update on this whole situation next week, so stay tuned.